Great Writers Media.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking about an amazing book, a compelling book. It is called Into the Desert by Xuemo. It tells the story of two women back in the 1990s in Western China, living on the fringes of the Gobi Desert and the remnants of the ancient Silk Road. They defy both poverty and deep-rooted tradition in pursuit of a better life. In this evocative tale, the author paints a vivid portrait of Gansu village, where the past clashes with the present and the hope for change battles against centuries-old conventions. We are delighted to have this very talented author and his interpreter join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Great Writers Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today and ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Xuemo and Luo, thank you so much for joining us here today. I know you want to give a little introduction, so why don't you give a little introduction for us, if you would?
Okay, thank you, Logan. It's nice to meet you here today. And I'm the interpreter of Chinese writer Xuemo. My name is Ida Liu. So it's my great honor to be the interpreter. And now I would like to make a short introduction about Chinese writer Xuemo. I think most of audience or lovely readers that will know more about information about writer Xuemo. Who is Xuemo? Why Xuemo become more famous than before? So now please allow me make a short introduction about Xuemo. Xuemo is a celebrated Chinese culture scholar, the leading contemporary Chinese writer, dean of Guangzhou Xiangba culture. And Xuemo was born in Liangzhou, Gansu province. His writing is heavily influenced by his hometown in Western China and embodies the essence of traditional Chinese culture. Xuemo's writing style perfectly blends hallucinatory realism with minute description of rural life in China and the inner worlds of Chinese people. It employs various literary forms such as poems, prose essays, and novels and short stories. And his works employs themes such as love, freedom, life, and death, and humanity's relationship with nature. His works have been translated into more than 20 different languages and published by high-profile publishers across the world. And so his work enjoyed extensive media coverage at home and abroad. And his work has considered seminal literature from Chinese Western region. He has won several prestigious awards at home and abroad. So this is all about the Chinese writer Xuemo. But if you want to know more much wonderful or brilliant story, so let's go into the desert. Then we will look.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, he's obviously quite an accomplished writer. This is an amazing book. He has an impressive number of different outlets that have published his work, and he has many different forms of writing, from like you said, from poetry to prose and everything in between. So he is very accomplished. Please tell us what inspired Xuemo to write this book.
Okay. Writer Xuemo was inspired to write this book by his desire to faithfully document the daily life of the people living in Western China, who had faced hardship and pursued their aspirations from generation to generations. Over the decades, maybe most of people, the West was widely noticed only during the time of major development in China. A great deal of its culture and residents had not to be unearthed and treasured. The beauty, complexity, and the vastness of the West were unknown to the outside world. People's eyes lit up only the Desert trilogy by Xuemo. You look this is the Desert Trilogy, Desert Rise, and White Tiger Pass, and the other title named Desert Hunters. When the Desert Trilogy published by Xuemo, people's eyes lit up, and they were surprised to know such a place, its culture and residents. Not too many truly understood the West. Actually, even now, people who know Tibet or and Lhasa, they had not many ideas about Liangzhou, the crater site with 1,000 years culture. So, they naturally wasn't aware of the Liangzhou folktale. It's a very famous folk song. And later, writer Xuemo will give a lovely folk song named Hua. So first, please go into this question. And the Liangzhou folk song, a kind of living culture fossil that had been around for thousands of years, which would so disappear and in the passage of time. So when writing this book, writer Xuemo would like to present a full imaging of this enigmatic land, reflecting the complexity and the captivating stories of the people there, and to capture a few moments of real Western region along the Silk Road. So I believe writer Xuemo have achieved already.
Absolutely. He has achieved quite a bit, and this is an amazing story, as I mentioned. Could you tell me more about the attractions of the book?
Okay. Into the Desert was readapted and translated by Howard Goldblatt, and a brilliant American stynologist and the translator of Chinese culture, as well as his wife, Dr. Sylvia. This actually Into the Desert was selected from two volumes of writer Xuemo's Desert Trilogy. One is Desert Rise, and the other is White Tiger Pass. So in June 2022, Into the Desert was published by the Long River Press in America. And after 4 months, this book won the best translated award books issued by Chinese Communication International Group. So this book set in the 1990s. This novel centers on two Chinese willing women who are unwilling to yield and give up and fight against the fate. Bound together by poverty and tradition, they embark upon a perilous journey to change their lives. Into the Desert tells a story about resilience of the human spirit. It portrays the struggle between human and nature, between fate and free will, in particular between minority and evil. Critic Hong Chen, a professor in the language department at Loyola University, Chicago. This book isn't about life or how to experience, just as mentioned in the prologue by Xuemo. It's about people, the souls of the West that are no longer around, and the culture they passed down.
Amazing, amazing. Now, I understand music is a big part of Mr. Xuemo's art. Yeah. Could he use songs to represent the characters in his work?
Okay, 就是你可以唱一下，是那个。
谢谢，Thank you.
Okay, writer Xuemo would give a song. The song is succeed from Tang Dynasty of China. So when you listen this voice, maybe you will remember the Tang Dynasty's voice and the Tang's culture, the Tang's inner side views. Welcome.
李白呀，乘舟将欲仙，忽闻岸上他歌声。桃花哟，塘水声相持， 不尽网罗所情。千里呀，黄涌百日凶，北风吹杨雪纷。莫愁啊，强弩无知己，天下谁人？不是君。
Thank you.
How beautiful, Sylvia. Love that song. Beautiful, very evocative of many emotions. It tells the history, no doubt, of the region and the Chinese people and their struggles. Tell me a little bit about the main characters and their symbolic meanings in this book.
Well, this novel revolves around the two women from Chinese Western place, Lan Lan and Ying-er, as well as the desert nightmare jackals. You can treat. I know many readers that do not have no many ideas about jackals. So you can treat jackals as a kind of symbol representing perils in life. You probably know that many writers were confronted with predicaments. For example, Tolstoy was afflicted with mental problems, so he had to lock down his hunter rifle, so that he couldn't himself too easily. Dostoevsky, suffering from mental problem, besides epilepsy. Van Gogh had nervous breakdowns and eventually killed himself. So the illness, as well as anguish and pain, and are their jackals, and their battle against these problems were every bit as fair and fair rising as the fate faced by the leading role Ying-er and Lan Lan against the real jackals. So some people in life failed to make it out the desert and turn into camels' carcasses in their mental deserts, whilst but somebody made it out. When faced these jackals, those with a weak soul like Ying-er, who is constantly thinking about to give up and believing it's her fate. So with this kind of mindset, one would pull down the musket one day and stick her neck out for the jackals to pounce. So everything would be over for her. Lan Lan's strong throughout the story, and you can even say she is intrepid. On many occasions, Ying-er is about to give up, but Lan Lan always finds a way out for them. When they are being chased by jackals, Lan Lan even slows down to keep Ying-er company in her despair. It's quite a challenge for the woman, not even men who could act like that sometimes. So the spirit of Lan Lan represents an admirable things in Chinese culture, like the song sing by Xuemo before. There's something all inspiring it. Humble people with such a powerful force inside is very moving. So when you read this book, you can see women suffering, but you may not notice that men too have tough lives. What causes women's suffering isn't men. From writer Xuemo's opinion, what causes women's suffering isn't the man, but it's the ignorance of the man. In the environment and the tradition, men themselves are victims too. So I don't know whether you agree with opinion, but we are in the same page. Similarly, what forces Ying-er and Lan Lan to into the desert to find what they are looking for isn't their families or parents, but poverty. Because at that time in 1990s, a whole village of the West, even whole China, at that time was married in poverty. You know, Logan. The parents couldn't see hope, and they didn't want their son to remain single. So what could they do? They used their daughters to betrothal gifts to trade and get their sons a wife. So this story also represents the White Tiger Pass. It's a very moving story. In the end, the sister-in-law, Li-chun, survived the desert trek, but sadly, Ying-er was still unable to escape her fate. When she returned to hometown, her mother insisted on her marriage on a butcher, leading Ying-er to end her life. However, Ying-er's death was a form of rebellion, not a passive surrender. Nevertheless, Ying-er exudes an air of tranquility despite her passive personality. Her sadness and hopelessness possess a poetic elegance, just like her. She's a fairy like a spirit. So you can also treat her Lady of Song. So I think writer Xuemo would like to sing a Lady of Song. Welcome, okay?
Absolutely, love to hear it.
好，这是在那个书中显示的。
正月到了2月休，我俩望个能元宵。你能元宵，我不为一心行走，他会吸口味呀，一心行走，他会吸口味。吸口味来，你见过又增银子又增钱，增上银钱说可以，增不上银钱我回家拿，增不上银钱我回家拿，往前溜来。隔壁堂和炕来是家余光，两边看是两家上，抬起头来是166天，抬起头来是166天。Thank you.
Thank you, Logan.
Cynthia, beautiful.
Wow.
How very nice. Loved it. Loved it. Let me ask you, what do you hope readers take away from reading the book? Some view it as the author's most representative work yet, displaying feminine power.
Yes. In this story, writer Xuemo added many familiar stories, details of life in the West, such as the desert, camels, and the women, as well as the actual nightmare jackals. But it is, in fact, a story belong to all humans, not belong to China or Western China. I think this story belongs to all human beings. Writer Xuemo may want to tell you the West, even the whole China, has constantly stories like this. And once you understand that, you would understand China. Into the Desert is the most representative work by Xuemo to narrate literature witness feminine power. During the 2022 London Book Fair, writer Xuemo gave a speech titled "Literature to Witness the Power of Women," so which was widely reported by more than 2,000 media outlets. As writer Xuemo commented, in general, humanity, including two opposing aspects, divinity and barbarity, they are just like two sides of the same coin. Women tend to embody the power of divinity as the most precious inner quality of women is motherhood. Hence motherhood encompasses have many crucial characters of divinity, such as selflessness, devotion, and love. The world will be from writer Xuemo's opinion, the world will become a more peaceful place if the power of motherhood takes center stage. So since no mother would wish to their children harmed in the war, in the country, men may cruelly take millions of lives by their initial violence and bloodshed when they always surrender to their barbarity. Why is that so? Because women yearn for love. Writer Xuemo think whereas men aspiring for violence or power. In today's world, women's voice is still much less heard than the men's. As a consequence, this planet, our planet, is always occupied with violence or bloodshed. However, when this wisdom and love of family rise like the sun, the light of peace will break through the darkness and shine upon us eventually. In this world, the only thing that can make humanity become good is the longing for goodness, not violence. Oftentimes, it has nothing to do with a person's ability to or talent. Everyone is a capability is capable of caring for others. So we all have all potentials to be great. The only difference being the aspiration. They are planting positive stories in the local culture here, like the story of Ying-er and Lan-lan. In fact, it's not just China West or China, but the whole human race is looking for hope. Into the desert, love and hope is the reason for Ying-er to stay alive. Otherwise, she will choose to die. So they may hope for different things and looking for in different ways. But in the end, they want the same: eternity, eternal health, love, freedom, relationship. So the human race is searching for eternity. So everyone enters their own desert. Writer Xuemo wrote a book, The Holy Monk and the Spiritual Woman. Maybe this one, this book, The Holy Monk and the Spiritual Woman. Let me show. Okay. This book, The Holy Monk and the Spiritual Woman. It tells us a story about a man tempering his soul. He leaves his hometown and his family and give up what he has so he can to a distant place in search for his soul and faith. His travel is his journey to desert. He doesn't run into jackals like Ying-er and Lan-lan, but he lose his ways and he runs into a petty veil and undergoes a great deal of test and confusion. His journey is filled with hardship too.
Amazing. Yeah. Sounds like an amazing story. Do you have more to say?
Yeah,
or?
Yeah, this book is available on Amazon.
On Amazon, as are all the books, I believe. Let me ask you about Into the Desert. We were talking about the qualities that it conveys, the truth of love, wisdom, not yielding to fate. Let's talk about, from an artistic and marketing perspective, what can we expect to see, or when can we possibly expect to see Into the Desert turned into a movie? Maybe John Emo is listening and will pick this up as his next film, but this would be a great movie, don't you think?
Yeah, well, overseas publishers as well as writer Xuemo himself are looking forward to this story adapted into movie one day. You know, our partner, Starland, and they give comments. They say this story tells two women. They are simple, but they lead a very tedious life, and they when she read this book, her heart is in their heart. She thinks she has already went into a desert with Lan Lan and Yinger.
Yep, it would be a wonderful movie. I think it's very vivid in its descriptions, in its settings. I think people would be interested in learning about this part of Western China. I also think that people would be interested in seeing such powerful female role models on film. It's a wonderful book. It is called Into the Desert by Xuemo. It is a story of two women back in the 1990s in Western China living along the Gobi Desert and the remnants of what we know as the Silk Road. They defy both poverty and deep-rooted tradition in pursuit of a better life. It is an epic tale. It is a tale you'll love. You can find out more about the book in the links below this interview. Xuemo and his very talented translator, thank you both for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Logan,
yes,
we have a question. So writer Xuemo would like ask you a question from your opinion, because we know you are very famous actor. So you has acted in many films. So we would like to hear your brilliant comments on writer Xuemo's books. So Xuemo will give his comments about your interview. So
我喜欢看美国电视连续剧。
Okay.
非常熟悉他。
Writer Xuemo said, although this is our first time to meet, but she is very familiar with you. He is very familiar with you. He already seen many films or television comedy on the how to say, on the cell phone or computers, internet.
他希望读到中国作家的什么样的作品？他自己喜欢。
Okay, from your opinion, what kind of books writing by Xuemo, writing by Chinese writer, what kind of book you want to read?
Well, Into the Desert is a book that I read and really enjoyed. I think it really does tell a great story. I think, as we say in China, women own half the sky, right? So this really gets that point across, that women are such an important part of society, a vital part of society, and actually will make society better. And I have great affection for China. I visited China a couple of years ago. I spent a month in Xi'an, in Beijing, in Shanghai. And my wife is actually from Xi'an, China. So I know a lot about China and the Chinese culture. So I enjoyed our talk today very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
Yeah.
Cecilia, Tatien.
Visit www.greatwritersmedia.com. Email us at info@greatwritersmedia.com. Call us at 877-600-5469. Subscribe now.